Nigeria will implement unique initiatives aimed at accelerating the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Count on Nigeria's support to achieve Agenda 2030 and other SDGs, President Buhari promises international community.
We are committed to incrementally improving on the support that we're giving businesses and MSMEs.
Federal government reiterates commitment to create more business-friendly environment for micro, small and medium enterprise.
There is also an increasing need for recovery and development assistance.
Rebuilding the Northeast, United Nations renews pledge for financial and technical support.
A big round of applause to President Mohammed Bandy.
Plus, correspondent X-rays achievements of a veteran African diplomat as president of the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations. In a few hours from now, the much-anticipated Edo governorship election will begin. Nigerians are looking forward eagerly to a violence-free election. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News with me, Jummai Yusuf. Agatha Igware Ojo in our Benin Network Center will be joining me, while Dotun Ogunyomi is in our Lagos studio. We thank you so much for joining us. We begin with the presidency, as President Muhammad Buhari says the international community can always count on the support of Nigeria in the collective quest towards achieving Agenda 2030 and other sustainable development goals. Already, he said, the services of National Youth Service Corps members as well as the 17 SDG ambassadors are being engaged to champion the implementation of goals at the grassroots. The president said this at the virtual inaugural SDGs Moment event convened by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres as part of the high-level week of the 75th UN General Assembly. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu tells us more.
The SDG Moment brings together representatives of government and other critical stakeholders with a view to generating a renewed sense of urgency, ambition, accountability, and transformative possibility as the world embarks on a decade of action towards delivering the SDGs. In his video message to the meeting, President Muhammad Buhari gives an update on SDG progress in the country, setting out Nigeria's vision for the next decade in fighting poverty, combating illicit financial flows, and ensuring economic recovery amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
In this decade of action, Nigeria will implement unique initiatives aimed at accelerating the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Such initiatives include the realigned national statistical system to effectively track and monitor the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals on an annual basis. Similarly, our National Assembly has established committees on Sustainable Development Goals. The National Youth Service Scheme is also ensuring that Nigerian graduates actively participate in the Sustainable Development Goals implementation processes by serving as SDGs champions at the grassroots. Nigeria is also committed to mainstreaming the Sustainable Development Goals into our subsequent development plans.
Taking pride in the good strides achieved in the SDG domestication processes, the president says a novel, homegrown, integrated Sustainable Development Goals model has been developed, while a model private sector advisory group as well as an SDG donors forum have been set up to engage those that matter towards the attainment of the goals.
However, the coronavirus pandemic has altered our socio-economic dynamics and threatened to derail our progress on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. To address this, we have rededicated efforts towards diversifying our economy, focusing on agriculture and the mining sectors. Going forward, we will invigorate the goal achievement process as a grassroots by engaging the services of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals ambassadors we appointed to support our effort at the national level. We will also encourage more subnational authorities to appoint and train Sustainable Development Goals champions.
President Buhari, however, explains that with the challenges posed by observed policy incoherencies and trade-offs, Nigeria will pay greater attention to interlinkages and mainstream sustainability assessment in the annual cycle of the nation's policy planning as well as budgeting and reporting processes. With the event coming at a time of great uncertainty, participants believe that the SDGs can show the way forward to a strong recovery from COVID-19 and better future for all on a safe and healthy planet. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Vice President Yemi Oshibajo says the federal government remains deeply committed to creating a more business-friendly environment for micro, small and medium enterprises to thrive, describing it as the engine room of the Nigerian economy. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi reports.
Vice President Yemi Oshibajo at a virtual inauguration of a fashion cluster shared facility for micro, small, medium enterprises in Lagos explained that President Mohammed Buhari's approval of the implementation of a micro, small, medium enterprises survival fund as part of the economic sustainability plan was to cushion the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. This, the Vice President notes, not only highlights the commitment of the administration to supporting micro, small and medium enterprises, but also the importance of micro, small, medium enterprises to the nation's economy.
There's also a 50,000 naira grant for 100,000 small and medium-scale businesses, while 330,000 self-employed persons working as artisans and transporters will benefit from a one-off grant of 30,000 naira. Moreover, the President has approved that the federal government should bear the full cost of business name registration for 250,000 new businesses nationwide.
Vice President Oshibajo says the MSMEs Shared Facilities Scheme being implemented by the Buhari administration under the National MSMEs Clinic seeks to provide high-quality operating equipment which small businesses can access at a reasonable cost within a conducive space.
We are committed to incrementally improving on the support that we're giving businesses and MSMEs. The ASP, the Economic Sustainability Plan, is not the end of the process. As a matter of fact, it is to stimulate the process, and the federal government is committed to ensuring that MSMEs survive in every way. And we continue to look at new and creative ways of ensuring this support for the MSME sector.
He says the administration is also supporting small businesses by improving access to credit through the Central Bank, Development Bank of Nigeria, Bank of Industry, and others, and lessening the tax burdens through initiatives like the Finance Act. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government is set to ensure that micro, small and medium enterprises negatively impacted by the global pandemic are not allowed to suffer more due to inability to meet up with its financial responsibilities. The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Mariam Yawaji Katagum, said about 1.7 million businesses will be captured by the 75 billion naira federal government MSMEs Survival Fund. Timobi Walter Inaji now reports.
Nigeria currently has over 46 million micro, small and medium enterprises, many of which are currently struggling to stay afloat due to the harsh economic realities occasioned by the global pandemic. To ensure the survival of this critical sector, the federal government says the 75 billion naira MSME Survival Fund is aimed at, among other things, act as a payroll support fund, minimize job losses, and provide some sort of incentives for businesses to thrive.
We've put up, there's a website, registration starts on the 21st, but we're working with unions because when we look at MSMEs, it cuts across all sectors, those in production, those in hospitality, the media, private education providers, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, we have on the other side the guaranteed off-take scheme, whereby we've identified 9 priority items that we think are being produced in most states.
The federal government believes that formalizing the largely informal sector of the economy by registering over 240,000 businesses and capturing them in the corporate register will go a long way in ensuring the real sector is protected from economic shocks occasioned by the pandemic. In Abuja, Chimubi Walter Naji, NTA News.
Now, 78 companies have qualified to participate in the virtual bidding for the rehabilitation of NNPC downstream critical pipelines, associated depots and terminal infrastructure. Group Managing Director Mele Kolokiari reassured the bidders and the nation that NNPC will not rest on its oars till the principle of transparency is rooted in all its transactions. Lydia Sampson reports.
Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation's pipeline network is an integrated national asset for distributing crude and white products nationwide. The pipelines were designed to efficiently and seamlessly move refined products such as premium motor spirit, dual-purpose kerosene, and automated gas oil from the nation's refineries to all products depots. The pipelines, which are considered as safe and cheaper means of product distribution, are connected to 21 white product depots and tank farms across the nation. But repeated acts of vandalism and dilapidation have rendered most pipelines in the network inefficient. The live broadcast of the virtual bid opening is part of ongoing efforts to rejig the pipelines network and make good NNPC's result at transparently operating an accountable national oil company in line with global best practices.
We decided that we can bring in private partners who will provide those pipelines. They will fund it, they will construct it, they will operate it with us, and then ultimately they will recover their investment from the tariff which we will pay for using this pipeline. And as soon as they pull full recovery of their costs and their margin, they will hand over this asset back to the country.
The virtual meeting was joined by key players, including regulators, who applauded the transparent posture of NNPC, which they say is crucial in repositioning the national oil company for greater efficiency. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And domestic artisanal refinery owners from the Niger Delta region are proposing a roadmap that is expected to end importation of refined petroleum products, leveraging on modular technology. Ikechukwu Njukwe reports that the move is part of the strategies to crash the price of petroleum products.
Days. One of the completed modular refineries will be inaugurated, a development that is expected to improve supply of petroleum products and possibly crash prices that have recently risen, leading to complaints from different quarters. Now, artisanal refinery owners are proposing to facilitate further benefits for the country.
An idle man is a devil workshop.
This interactive session with the special advisor to the president on Niger Delta is to seek quick expansion for more participation in the oil sector.
Removal is one of the greatest achievements which Nigerians are yet to align with its benefit in terms of economic stability. We therefore urge federal government to open up oil and gas industry to avoid certain individuals setting up monopoly at the detriment of Nigerians.
The fact that all the refineries that you use are fabricated by you, welded by you and your team, you have created labor and employment for certain persons. It shows that you love the government of President Mohammed Buhari and you want him to succeed.
The interaction agreed to continue dialogue to find ways of restructuring the mining sector, leading to legalizing artisanal refining of petroleum products in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ikechukwu Njukwe, NTA News.
Let's now join Agatha Iware Ojo in Benin for the mood and update on preparations for the election tomorrow in Edo. Hello, Agatha.
Hello, Jummai. Thank you for joining us in Benin. Eligible voters are gearing up to cast their votes tomorrow. Preparations of other major stakeholders in the election are also at advanced stages. Here is an update on the situation.
Barely 10 hours to when voting will begin, activities are at its peak at the INEC headquarters in Benin.
I'm also getting reports from the electoral officers that all the materials got safely to the local government offices, of course with the support of the security. So far so good, we are ready, we are set. The collation will be done at our permanent office at Ikuba Hill. That's where we have our collation office.
Meanwhile, traffic situation early today was chaotic. While security patrol vehicles crisscrossed the city, the Deputy Inspector General of Police overseeing security arrangements for the election says officers deployed for the election are prepared to deal with any attempts to sabotage the process.
The police presence in Edo State, this time around, I'm saying it, that it is not to intimidate members of the public or the electorate, but rather it is to assure them and to tell them to be able to come out and do their civic responsibility of voting. And we are going to respect the fundamental human rights of the citizenry. We are going to ensure that our men are professional to the core. No man will be intimidated.
Also, out of the 13,311 personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NCDC, deployed from 10 states of the Federation to Edo, 7,331 are to be at polling units, while others are deployed to protect critical national assets within the state.
Meanwhile, shopping activities went a notch up in markets in Benin Metropolis today. People engaged in last-minute shopping ahead of the election. Ogochukuka owner has a compilation of these and the movement of voters to their polling units, as reported by a team of our reporters.
Midnight today, movement in and out of the state will cease except for essential duty workers. Expectedly, people will go shopping to stock their homes. No wonder the markets were a beehive of activities.
Tomorrow there is no movement. So that's why I'm here to collect some food stuff today. We'll not come market tomorrow. We won't buy something down. We'll go vote tomorrow. We'll not come out.
Because of the situation, traders made good sales.
The profit don't fill my pocket. So I thank God for today. The markets will thank God because we did sell.
Those who registered outside Benin used the opportunity of the work-free day declared by the state government to travel.
I'm going home and I registered in Igara in Akoko local government area.
Here I register. I'm going to Abuja to cast my vote there for the candidate of my choice.
I don't mind the amount of money I'm paying all the way from Ibadan, your state, coming down to Edo State, my hometown, to vote.
Meanwhile, these citizens say no matter the weather forecast in the states, they will exercise their civic rights.
There's nothing that is going to stop us not to go out en masse and vote.
Come rain, come sunshine, I'll vote. Either I use my jacket or my umbrella when it rains.
Rain is a constant, especially during the rainy season. So it is a given that it should rain.
Others have been commenting on their expectations.
They should not intimidate the voters. They should be far from the polling unit. Security on ground is acceptable.
The clock is ticking fast to midnight when the restriction of movement would begin, just as it is ticking to usher in a brand new day when citizens will decide who governs them for the next 4 years. In Benin, Ogochukuka Ona, NTA News.
And there was a downpour here this evening, but except for that, the city is calm and there's a peaceful atmosphere here. That's the situation at this time. Network News continues right after this break. Do stay on.
This is NTA Network News. Welcome back to our studios in Abuja. Now, Professor Tijani Mohammed Bandy has no doubt made Nigeria proud following a successful and fulfilling tenure as the President of the 74th General Assembly of the United Nations. He became the President after serving as Vice President of the Assembly's 71st session. As a veteran African diplomat, his top priorities for the session were poverty eradication, qualitative education and inclusion. In this report, Adebola Brookston Sunday takes a look at the reign of Nigeria's Professor Bandy as the 74th President of the Assembly.
Representative, Nigeria's Professor Tijani Mohammed Bandy worked with colleagues from all regions of the world in pursuit of common objectives. He served as chair of the Special Committee on Peacekeeping Operations, member of the Advisory Board of the United Nations Counter-Terrorism Center and chair of the ECOWAS Group. On the 4th of June 2019, the United Nations General Assembly elected Professor Tijani Mohammed Bandy president of its 74th session. Before handing over the mantle of leadership to his successor, Professor Bandy listed some of the giant strides accomplished by the session.
The first high-level meeting of the 74th session of the Assembly focused on global health, when we did not know that the session and the year 2020 would be defined by a pandemic. Announcement for development, tackling the peculiar challenges faced by small island developing states, prioritizing the rights of the child, elimination of nuclear weapons, and ensuring that peacekeeping operations got needed funding.
Taking over the Assembly, Volkan Bozkır promised to build on the legacy of Professor Bandy with a responsibility to strengthen faith in multilateral cooperation, international institutions with the United Nations at the center.
As well as the revitalization of the work of the General Assembly and Security Council reform. As long as health conditions allow, I intend to continue physical meetings of the General Assembly.
We must continue to respond to the immediate impact of the COVID-19 pandemic by strengthening our systems and supporting the development of equitable distribution of treatments and vaccines.
Volkan Bozkır, a Turkish diplomat and politician, served as the Minister of European Union Affairs between 2014 and 2016. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday.
Now for latest on COVID-19 across the world, Israel becomes the first country to begin a second national coronavirus lockdown as global cases exceed 30 million. Joyce Ometo has an update on the health crisis.
It's been 6 months since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic. A Johns Hopkins University COVID-19 tracker reveals that more than 30 million cases have been registered worldwide. However, 22,168,049 infected persons have recovered. As at 6 p.m. Nigeria time, the global death toll stood at 952,223. Africa is still the least affected region so far, accounting for 1,390,091 of global cases. Unfortunately, 33,500 infected persons have died across the continent. While cases in Nigeria appear to be taking a downward turn in the last few weeks, the Center for Disease Control and CDC said Nigeria has so far recorded 56,735 cases, 1,093 deaths, and 48,092 patients discharged. Meanwhile, Israel has entered a second national coronavirus lockdown, with residents facing at least 3 weeks of tough restrictions that will disrupt the Jewish holidays. The Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the move was essential after hospitals raised the red flag following an increase in COVID-19 cases. In the Middle East, Iran has declared a coronavirus red alert as daily deaths and cases increase at an alarming rate. Latest figures released Friday by the Iranian Health Department show that the country recorded 3,049 new cases and 144 fatalities in 24 hours. In Europe, the United Kingdom's Health Minister Matt Hancock said coronavirus infections are accelerating across the country, with hospital admissions doubling every 8 days. The minister said that a lockdown was a last resort, but the government will do whatever it takes to tackle the virus. And that's it from here. I am Joyce Ometo.
Thank you, Joyce, for that update, though a scary situation there. About 18 governors are scheduled to participate in the forthcoming 26th Nigerian Economic Summit, which focuses on subnationals as frontiers for economic recovery and growth strategy amidst the COVID-19 crisis. Abubakar Usman Akwango reports that this was part of the communique drafted at the end of the 17th NGF teleconference on COVID-19.
Which aims to bring together local and global policymakers, business leaders, development partners, and scholars. We hold via virtual conference, expected to produce blueprints for reviving the economy at subnational levels. The forum also inaugurated Technical Committee of the NGF-NESG Economic Roundtable to coordinate and facilitate partnership based on Memorandum of Understanding, the Annual Performance Assessment for States Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program being coordinated by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation will be completed this week. Updates were provided on the ongoing health-related interventions across states, including Regional Disease Surveillance System Enhancement to COVID-19 Support Fund, Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, and Saving 1 Million Lives Performance for Results. The forum urges World Bank to fast-track the review of the SMART survey conducted by the National Bureau of Statistics and finalize baseline assessment to Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. The Nigerian Governors Forum also receives briefing from Chairman of NGF Subcommittee on COVID-19 and Vice Chairman of National Food Security on progress of engagement with the Center on Delivery of Timely and Critical Mandate. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has distributed oxygen cylinders to 2 COVID-19 isolation centers in Abuja, adding to the list of centers which are already benefiting nationwide. Defense correspondent Tijani has details.
More than 140 cylinders of liquid oxygen, or LOX, produced by the Nigerian Air Force Liquid Oxygen Plant at the 103 Strike Group Yola were flown in by a Nigerian Air Force aircraft for onward distribution to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital and the DSS Medical Center, Sokoro.
This is to enhance civil-military relations, and this is to let Nigerians know that wherever they are, the Air Force is ready. Let them just give us the empty cylinders and we'll take them, fill them and deliver back to them.
On behalf of the beneficiaries, we sincerely want to appreciate the efforts of the Chief of Air Staff for this initiative. We still have people out there that feel that this COVID-19 is a hoax. It's sincerely not a hoax.
The NAF LOX plant has a capacity of 1,000 liters of liquid oxygen every 8 hours, which is in excess of the NAF's requirements for its air operations and for use in its medical centers across the nation. The Chief of the Air Staff says it is one of the many ways the Nigerian Air Force is supporting the federal government's fight against COVID-19. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
The federal government is reviewing the imposed restriction of travel ban for Europe and other nations of the world, which was done to contain coronavirus pandemic. This was the outcome of the meeting between European Union ambassadors and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Usman Aliu reports.
As partners in development, Europe and Nigeria have been in deep concerns about restrictions of movements, among them which was as a result of the global health crisis of the coronavirus. And so a meeting of this nature is to share views on safer decisions for the benefit of all.
Our positions are not cast in stone. They are reviewable. We've taken on board some very useful information and statistics today. And we will also, be reviewing on the access that we will give to European carriers and other carriers, for that matter, coming into Nigeria.
Everybody must show the certificate of PCR negative test and then pay, if you like, for another test on arrival at any time you like to confirm that they're not importing COVID-19 into your country, which is actually the purpose.
We want them to do business and continue doing business. Air France KLM has been in Nigeria since 1946, which is a huge point. There is no carrier that has that record into the country.
The European Union on its part says it is not juxtaposed by the Nigeria stand.
Merely what Europe has done is exactly the same that Nigeria has done, namely looking at very carefully what essential groups of people should come in at time of crisis.
Europe is Nigeria's largest partner in the aviation sector. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Still talking health matters, an infectious diseases hospital described as a landmark health project completed and already functional has been inaugurated in Aba by the Abia state government. Benson Osadebe reports that the hitherto abandoned facility has been refurbished to a 50-bed capacity for the detection and management of infectious diseases.
The twin building facilities an infectious disease hospital, isolation and treatment center, which also houses a molecular laboratory. It is equipped for the detection and management of COVID-19 and other related cases. The hospital has a full complement of medical and health professionals.
We have a team of well-trained personnel. So anybody that comes here should be assured that the person will be taken good care of.
No, everything you do here is free of charge. You don't pay a dime.
The facility, originally built by the colonial government to manage cases of severe infectious diseases, had been abandoned for over 30 years. It has now been rebuilt by Governor Okezie-Ikpeazu's administration to serve as an isolation and treatment center for COVID-19, thereby providing the people of Aba and the environs access to a standard medical facility if infected with the virus. The structure was built by a coalition of private sector persons, while Abia state government supplied the equipment. Deputy Governor Ude Okochukwu at the inauguration ceremony said the project is in response to the people's health needs.
The third isolation center that yes. And you come here and get treated.
The people are full of praises.
And I thank God that this had become a reality. There is manpower and equipment to care for you.
Abia State, with a record of 835, remains one of the states with low cases of COVID-19 in the country. In Aba, Benson Osadebe, NTA News.
Now, the 10 completed projects executed by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund at the Federal College of Education, Kontagora in Niger State has further prepared the college for compliance with the COVID-19 protocol when academic activities resume. Provost of the college, Professor Farouk Rashid Haruna, stated this while on impact assessment tour of the completed projects. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports.
Other institutions of learning in the country, the Federal College of Education, Kontagora, closed academic activities for months in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Works for the infrastructural development, however, continued after the easing of the lockdown directive, which now gives the college a facelift. 10 multi-million naira projects cutting across the 6 schools of the college, comprising office complex, theater and lecture halls, among other facilities, had been completed. The college authority says the completion of the projects will aid the teaching and learning process, especially in compliance with COVID-19 protocol when the college resumes academic activities.
By having these projects, we have increased the number of facilities and reduced the level of interaction and enhance the possibility of social distancing among students.
Some academic and non-academic staff of the college say they have never had it so good since the establishment of the college in 1978.
Before now, we do struggle to have lecture room for our students.
In the past, we've been hearing TED fund. We cannot see the impact of TED fund until the coming of this very administration.
In the same vein, the Mainstream Energy Solution Limited renovated a 1,200 capacity auditorium in the college.
We have done a lot for people as part of corporate social responsibility.
The 10 completed projects are expected to be inaugurated by the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, while 3 other projects are ongoing. In Kontagora, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
For more reports on NTA Network News tonight, let's join Dotun in Lagos. Hello, Dotun. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Jummai. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has reaffirmed that the Apapa-Orunshoki-Ojota Expressway project will be completed by November this year. According to the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Olukayode Popola, progress is being made on all 3 sections of the project. The Apapa-Orunshoki Expressway is a major road corridor in Lagos, which does not only link the ports, but carries heavy traffic due to the industrial nature of businesses along that axis. Since November 2018, the stretch of the road became a construction zone, with the flag-off of the 73 billion naira rehabilitation project. As at today, portions of the road have been completed and opened to traffic, while work continues along critical sections of the road.
They are able to finish this work now. There will be free flow of traffic, so it encourages more businesses.
Although work is only being carried out on sections 1, 3 and 4, with section 2 yet to be awarded, the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos says its mandate is to deliver the project by November this year.
Generally, we have achieved almost 50% completion on the average. So the work continues, and we are hoping to meet the deadline of November 2020.
The pace of work has, however, slowed down with the recent downpour, but the ministry says it is well on course to completing the project on time. The Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, NCPC, says it is ready to commence pilgrimage to Jerusalem and Rome in December. The Executive Secretary, Reverend Yakubu Palm, stated this at an interactive session with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on the Commission's plan for Christian pilgrimage in Nigeria for the year 2020. Nosa Usula reports.
The Executive Secretary announced that in spite of the devaluation of the Naira, the Commission has reduced the cost of this year's pilgrimage to 710,000 Naira instead of the 850,000 Naira, acknowledged that the trips to Jerusalem and Rome have been impacting positively on Nigerians.
On NCPC, we are ready to partner with you on many projects that we have lined up, but we're here on a one-day sensitization to build up our momentum to travel by the grace of God this year, December.
In his response, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who acknowledged the place of religion in the success of his government's programs, reiterated his administration's commitment to improve the quality of life of Lagosians.
We're building a rail, we're building another one, we're expanding waterways, we're encouraging people not to just use the road, but to use the waterways, and by the grace of God, when we also complete the rail infrastructure. And we're not only doing it in transportation, we're creating it tomorrow for them.
Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary earlier held a meeting with the Christian pilgrimage operators to improve service delivery and sensitize intending pilgrims to comply with international COVID-19 safety protocols. In Lagos, Nosa Usula, NTA News.
Let's now take another break. Network News continues shortly.
Welcome back. The armed forces of Nigeria have continued operations across the geopolitical zones of the country, uncovering criminal conspiracies and recovering weapons in the process. Defense correspondent Tijani has details of the week under review, covering 10th to 17th September 2020.
Under review in the Northwest Zone, troops of Operation Sahel Sanity acting on intelligence arrested a suspected illegal arms supplier with 890 rounds of the special ammunition concealed in his vehicle. Other items recovered include Nigerian police ID and the sum of 2,230,000 naira. Preliminary investigation revealed that the suspect is a major illegal arms dealer supplying bandits in the Northwest. Similarly, troops conducting a stop-and-search operation in Gusau, Zamfara State, based on reliable intelligence, arrested one female and one male suspect, with 9 parcels containing substances suspected to be cannabis and other illicit hard drugs. The air component of Operation Hadarin Daji also destroyed an armed bandit camp in Zamfara State. The airstrike was conducted as part of a new subsidiary operation codenamed Operation Wutandaji. In the northeastern zone, troops of Operation Laifia Doli repelled 2 different terrorist attacks. In Yobe State, neutralization of 4 Boko Haram terrorists and ISWAP fighters, while 7 of them were arrested. In the North Central Zone of Operation Wellstroke and Safe Haven, conducted several clearance operations to identify bandit camps. In the South Zone, troops of Operation Delta Safe and team from the Forward Operating Base Bonny immobilized an illegal refinery containing tanks filled with more than 307,000 liters of illegally refined AGO.
Still talking security, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations DMO says several armed bandits have been neutralized and their meeting venue damaged in airstrikes executed by the air component of Operation Thunderstrike in Kwabana Forest area of Kaduna State. A statement signed by DMO Coordinator Major General John Eneche says the air raid was conducted on 17 September 2020 after a series of intelligence and reconnaissance missions which led to the identification of the hideout along with a building in the center of the area which was being used by the armed bandits as meeting venue. Nigerian Air Force jets and helicopter gunships attacked the location, scoring accurate hits which resulted in the damage of the building as well as neutralization of several bandits. More funding is required to ameliorate existing gaps of humanitarian needs of people and communities affected by the insurgency in northeast Nigeria. House of Representatives Committee on Northeast Development Commission NEDC, led by Chairperson Khadijat Bukar Abu Ibrahim, gave this submission during an oversight function to monitor projects and operations of the Commission in Borno State. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
The Northeast Development Commission (NEDC) was established in 2019 by the federal government to receive and manage funds allocated for human and infrastructural needs of communities devastated by the Boko Haram insurgency. The House Committee on Oversight Duties of the NEDC operations in the last 1 year, conducted around by the Managing Director Mohammed Alkali, assessed the first phase of completed 100 houses at Ngom, Mafa local government area of Borno State. The next phase, construction of another 100, is underway out of a total of 10,000 housing program earmarked for the state as approved by President Buhari. The legislators also interacted with IDPs in camps at Customs House, Muna and Mohammed Goni Stadium, where they also inspected a clinic constructed by the commission. A leader of IDPs, Muhammad Abacha, informed the delegation of shortage of food supplies amidst other challenges of insufficient medication and classroom for school-age children. Chairman of the committee, Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim, assured the displaced communities of government intervention, which the committee will facilitate.
We'll do what we can to see that more money is appropriated to the commission to carry out these things that need to be done.
The members also inspected a warehouse where they directed NEDC to expedite action to distribute the food items to the needy in the camps visited, as well as the newly acquired and constructed offices and staff accommodation. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Ibrahim, NTA News.
Still reports from the Northeast as United Nations has renewed its pledge to continue to mobilize resources and provide the needed technical assistance in the task of restoring hope and rebuilding Northeast battling with insurgency. Yunus Suleiman reports that UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria made the pledge when he led a delegation on a working visit to Yobe State.
President and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria, Edward Kalong, who led the delegation, said they were in Yobe State to listen, learn, engage and support the government and people of the state to address some emerging challenges. Based on the engagements and interactions that the UN delegation had with various civil society groups and authorities in the state, the coordinator noted with satisfaction the level of commitment and cooperation among stakeholders in placing the state on the path of recovery after years of Boko Haram insurgency. The envoy therefore said it is also imperative for authorities in the state to scale up fight against COVID-19, restructure and reform the state health institutions, accelerate implementation of sustainable development goals, as well as invest more in human rights, women empowerment, and address gender-based violence among other priority areas of investment.
It is clear in my mind that the humanitarian needs are increasing, but there is also an increasing need for recovery and development assistance. And most importantly, there is need for investment in peace and security.
This visit has shown us your...
Now to sports update as 12-year-old Nigerian sets new world freestyle record. Details with Bandy Adele.
Three-time Olympian Chika Chukwumerije says Nigerian athletes must be given the needed support for them to deliver medals at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, which has been shifted to the summer of 2021. Chukwumerije, who captained Nigeria to the London 2012 Olympics, believes a good support system and early preparation will be key to the country's bid to make a mark in Tokyo.
I also know what it means to be supported, so I'm using this opportunity to also ask for support for the entire Nigerian Olympic team. London was not a nice experience. It was not nice to come back with no medals.
12-year-old Nigerian freestyle